Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Heather. Thank you so much for stopping by. I would love for you to join my family here on YouTube and hit that red button and subscribe and hit the notification bell so every time I upload a video you are notified that I uploaded a video. So today's video is going to be my best miracle story time. I've done like a story time before, but this is a video that I seen yesterday that Clueless Mama D, she's another fellow YouTuber that I watch all the time, and she did a video regarding her daughter, and it was just how she was born, how it was a miracle, and she created a playlist of so people can add videos to that. It was how they had any miracles in their life. So I was like, I would like to share my miracle that has happened in my life with someone that was a miracle in my life. So I asked if it was okay I joined the playlist, and she said of course, and so I just wanted to share with you guys my miracle that has happened to me, and I will leave Coolest Mama D's channel link down below so you can check out her page. She has a great channel, and also I will leave the playlist link down below so you can check out everyone else's stories. So if you want to find out what my miracle was, keep on watching. Okay, so my miracle is something that had happened with my sister. My sister is 2.5, 3 years older than me. She is she doesn't live in New Jersey anymore. She moved to Texas about 2.5 years ago, I think so. It was right before, yeah, about 2.5 years, 3 years ago. If I'm wrong, Amber, comment below if I'm wrong. I don't remember exactly what date she moved, but yeah, this was happened back in April of 2011, right after my 21st birthday. She actually got in March, before my birthday, she went to Texas to visit her boyfriend who was living out in Texas where she lives now with her boyfriend. And she came back from Texas. She had a cold, and we thought she just got it from being in Texas or like being on a plane with all the germs and stuff. Because my sister always gets sick easily. So she was like, had like very like flu-like symptoms. So she was at work and she was just getting worse, and she just wasn't getting better. So she went to the doctor. My mom took her to the doctor, and I remember I was and like we went to my birthday, and we went to the club for my birthday. We went to my first birthday. We went down to Atlantic City, and she was still sick at my birthday. I remember she was just not feeling well, but she was just sick, so her immune system was already low. So she was just feeling sick, and we were out having fun and all this stuff. And then I remember she was, after my birthday, she just seemed to get worse. She was at work, and my sister just didn't seem right. So that's when my mom took her to the doctor, and the doctor sent her to the hospital. So I remember my mom called me and said, hey, they're sending her to the doctor told me to bring her to the hospital because she had all these red blotches just all over her body, and like these red dots, like it was just very strange. So I was actually, the hospital they sent her to was actually in Lakewood. It was not a very good hospital, but it was the hospital that the doctor worked with. So and I was all the way in Bricktown, which is, from the hospital was a good, I say a good 15 to 20 minutes in traffic. So a little less maybe, but with traffic it was pretty long. I literally got there 5 minutes. I hauled my butt there. My sister is very important to me, and growing up it was always me and my sister. We were very close, and basically my sister took on a lot of the responsibility when it came to me as a kid growing up. So I got there very quickly. I knew I needed to be there with my sister. So I got there, and they were checking her out, doing what they had to do at the hospital, and doing tests, and she was complaining that her body was just achy and her head was hurt and her neck hurt. She had all these dots all over her, and we just didn't understand. She had fever and all this stuff. And they were like, oh, we just think she has a UTI. And we're like, a urinary tract infection does not cause your body to have dots all over your body. You're like, this doesn't make sense. And so they were doing more testing and all this stuff, and she started acting very different, and she was in pain. And so I was like rubbing her back for her, and I just want to say now, I really just don't like talking about this story. It makes me very emotional, because it's just, I feel like if it wasn't for my birthday, she wouldn't have had this. That's why I hate talking about this issue. If it wasn't for my birthday party, she wouldn't have had this issue. But then if she didn't have this issue, she wouldn't find out what she currently has. So I will explain more of it later on in the story. But so she was shivering, she was cold, but then she also had a fever. That's why she was shivering. But this hospital gave her heated blankets, which you're not supposed to do when you have a fever. You're not supposed to add heat to a fever. I know the old saying is, oh, I'm gonna sweat out this fever. You're not supposed to add heat to your body when you're hot. It's not good for your brain. So she was very combative, and you could tell she was in pain, and she couldn't talk, and she was just screaming and yelling and angry and just fighting. And me and my cousin were holding her down and saying, Amber, you need to stop it. They're going to restrain you. You need to stop it. And she was just moving her head back and forth, and she was yelling and crying and screaming, and she's not doing well. And then she had a seizure at that moment, and after that she had 2 seizures, and after that they intubated her, and they were saying that they're going to move her upstairs to the ICU. But they were like, you can come see her before we move her up, because it was going to take a little while, because they were waiting for a bed upstairs. So we're like, okay. So I walked over to her and I gave her a kiss, and I told her, this is going to be a very emotional video, guys. I'm sorry about this. I don't cry. I'm not a crier. I don't cry in front of people. And I told her, and I was like, I whispered in her ear, I was like, Am, I love you. That's my sister's name, Amber. And a tear came out of her eye. And this is, me and my husband just started dating around this time. And I just lost it in front of him, and I just cried, and I knew she was in pain, and she wasn't feeling right, and I knew something was wrong with my sister at this moment. And I didn't know what was wrong with my sister, and I didn't want my sister to die. So they finally got a room for her up in the ICU. And I don't know why I even did my makeup for this video. So they moved her up in the ICU, and they said, okay, we have her all set up in the room. We can, you can come back and see her. So we were like, okay. So me and my mom, and at this point, I think my dad was there too. So it was me, my dad, my mom, and so I think Anthony, my husband, walked in with us, and they pointed to where she was, and she was in the same room where my grandfather was, where he passed away. And my mom just lost it. She was like, I want her out of that room. I said, Mom, look at it in a good way, that it's Grandpa watching over her, and he's watching over that she's okay. So that kind of took her out of that get her out of the room thing. So the nurse that was in charge of my sister was he was an amazing nurse, and he was talking to us, and he was saying, we're doing this and doing that. And at this point, we were just Googling her symptoms and everything, and Google was pointing to it was meningitis, and we were just like, I think my sister has meningitis. Like, who gets meningitis? But we think it's meningitis. So they were like, we're gonna be doing a spinal tap on her and all these tests. And so they said, oh, I came back and it was like inconclusive, or like whatever the results were, and they were just like not being very clear what was happening. And at this point it's been a long time, and we were just getting frustrated. And this hospital is a crappy hospital. It's not a good hospital. So the nurse himself he came over to us and he was like, I'm going to get your daughter out of this hospital. He was like, because if I don't, your daughter's going to die. And he was like, so I'm going to make a few phone calls to see if I can get her out of this hospital. He was like, because they're not doing what they need to do for your daughter. So my mom was like, okay. So he made some phone calls and they actually got another hospital, which was in North Jersey, and which is a very well-known hospital. And they were like, okay, yeah, we'll take her. We just gotta get a bed cleared, and then we'll take her. So we were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And obviously, you know, the whole hospital, you gotta wait, the waiting game of the hospitals. So they finally said, okay, we have a bed, you can bring her. We're like, okay. So we drove up there. Everyone that was there was a lot of people there, and we actually beat the ambulance to the hospital. And so they got her there, they got her set up and everything, which took forever for them to set her up. And I guess so then they finally told us that we can come back and see her, and that the doctor just wanted to talk to me, my mom, and my dad. So the doctors brought us back into this room, and they were like telling us that they reviewed her charts, and that the hospital that she was at didn't do what they were supposed to do. They actually did the spinal tap twice, which you're not supposed to do a spinal tap twice, but that they were going to do their own spinal tap to get an actual correct reading, because what their spinal tap was not done correctly. So they were going to do one themselves to get a correct reading and do all their own tests, because the test that the other hospital did was not correct. They just didn't do what they had to do. So they want to run their own test and do what they have to do. But they said, from what they see, and from what they see on, no, it wasn't happening yet. So they said, let's run a test. So they're like, okay. So they ran their tests and all that, and they called us back in. They sat us down again, and they said, we had the results, and that basically she has bacterial meningitis, which is not very good. A lot of people do not survive this, but we are going to help her. She's highly sedated, so her body can fight this. We can't, I don't think they gave her, they said we'll give her antibiotics, but really antibiotics can't fight this type of infection. I think that's what they said. It's so long ago, I honestly don't remember, but they said it's so far that they were like, basically you need to expect the worst and plan for a funeral. And at that point I was just like, okay, my sister is going to die on me, and no, my sister can't die. She's my sister, and she can't die. She can't. That is not going to happen. And I told her, I was like, you don't know my sister. She's a very strong person. She's going to fight this, and she's not going to die. No matter what you say, my sister's going to fight this. And he was like, okay. And he's like, we will do everything that we have to do for her. And he was like, and we're going to help her fight this. So it was a long time, and they did so much, and every day we just prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. We had to get medication, so just in case we had meningitis. I was working at a nursing home, so I couldn't go back to work until I got cleared by the CDC, and it was just insane. And so we just prayed and prayed, and I've never prayed so much. I'm not very religious at all, but I've never prayed so much in my life when it came to that. And I remember they were like, things seemed to be looking better, and I remember her starting to, they were slowly lightening the sedation, and they were like, she's not really waking up. And I'm like, well, first off, my sister doesn't take pills. She doesn't take any type of sleeping pill. My sister will take one Tylenol PM and she will be out forever. Like, we're very sensitive to like medications. So that's why I told him, like, so this cocktail that you have, like, she was on, they were telling us exactly what like Michael Jackson was on. So I'm like, this here that you're giving her is like over the top for her. So she's gonna take a while to get out of this. So give her some time. Don't just give up yet. I was just telling him, like, just don't give up on her yet. I have high hopes. I know my sister. She is going to get out of this. I know my sister. And so this was a while. Like, it was a few months. It was a while. And she one day we were there, and I think we came back. We were coming in, and they were like, she's trying to pull out. She kept trying to pull out the breathing tube, so they had to tie her hands down. And then they were like, okay, I think it's time that we can pull up the tube to see if she can breathe on her own. So they did. They took it out, and she was doing good. She was breathing on her own, and so then she slowly started waking up, and she was just confused. She actually, I remember, she didn't want my mom. She was looking for me. She was like, where's Heather? Fuck, man. And because my mom, when you're in the hospital, my mom's very annoying. So then they got her out. They sat her up, and just to see how she was mentally, like, how did her brain handle this, and she was just very confused. She didn't understand, and they let her wake up a little more, and then of course they asked her questions, and she answered them, and she knew what was, or she didn't know where she was. She thought she was in the old hospital. She knew the whole name of the hospital that she was at the first time. So then we told her that she was moved, and that she was at a different hospital, and then she wanted to talk to her boyfriend, and so we got her cell phone. She immediately wanted her cell phone, and so that was good. And then we were talking, and then she spoke right before she woke up. She spoke with our grandfather, who passed away, and he told her that it wasn't her time yet, that she needed to go back, and that he needed. Why am I doing this video? I can't talk about this. Every time I talk about this video, this issue. And that wasn't her time yet, and that she needs to go back and be with my mom, and that my mom needs her, and that it wasn't her time, and that our cat, who passed away, was with her too. And she was like, and that I just remember just turning around, and I remember seeing a light, and then waking up, and then the doctor was in my face. And I think that was just a miracle to me, that my grandfather was telling her, no, it's not your time. Like, you need to stay here. Like, it's not, don't go, don't come yet, it's not your time. Like, it's not your time. Like, you don't need to be, just don't come yet. Like, you need to stay here. You have some more living to do, Anne. So then that happened, and then she was allowed to eat, and then her whole left side she couldn't move it. She was limp. And I remember when she was able to walk to go to the bathroom, I remember seeing her walk, and this whole left side was dragging, and I just was like, crap. My sister is paralyzed on the left side, and I didn't want her to deal with that. I didn't want her to be deal with that. She was only 24 then. Like, I didn't want her dealing with that. And after like she got better and she regained strength in her side, so then they were like, okay, beat meningitis and you're good to go home. So they sent her home, and my mom, because at this time they were living with my cousin, and my mom got a new place to live, so they went back to the new house, and my sister was just not doing well. She wasn't eating. She lost a lot of weight. She was just not doing well. There was something off about her. So she went back to the doctors, and they were just trying to figure it out, what was going on. So she went to get blood work. I think she went to go get blood work. And then she was going to the doctor, and the doctors called her that they got the results for blood work and that she needs to go immediately to the hospital because she's in kidney failure. So she's like, what? And she's like, you need to go to the hospital, you're in kidney failure. So they went to another different hospital. So they went to the hospital and they checked her out, and they're like, you're in kidney failure, we don't know why, blah blah blah. So we had to go back to the hospital, and they're doing all this testing on her, trying to figure out why she's in kidney failure. We don't know why. Like, why are you in kidney failure? And they did all these testing, and it finally came out that she has lupus. And they said that lupus lies dormant, and with her having meningitis, that brought it out. And she has a lupus that attacks your organs, and it makes sense because she's always had very poor like circulation and joint issues, and all the symptoms like growing up and stuff as a kid and like teenager and issues point to lupus. And it's just crazy how, I think, to me, it's not a miracle, but if she never had the meningitis, she would have never found out she had the lupus. And now, like, she struggled with the lupus in the beginning. She had to go through chemotherapy to save her kidneys, basically. And she lost all her hair. She had to go through steroids, and she went through crap. Like, spent her birthday in the hospital. Like, my sister is 100% a fighter. Like, my sister is on this earth for a reason. She has a purpose on this planet, and she is going to do something so good one day. And she already is. She is an amazing person, and she is a strong, very strong person. And I'm very thankful that she's alive and she's here today, because she could have not fought that disease. She could have died then. And like, yeah, it sinks that she has lupus, but it's a very manageable disease, and she went through crap finding out that she has it and all this stuff that she had to go through. But she lives every day with it. She takes her medicine, and she has her flare-ups, and she's in her, like, I think right now she's in remission with it, but she has her flare-ups, and ever since she's moved to Texas, I think she's been a little more better with it. I know New Jersey weather with the cold and stuff was not good for her body, for her lupus. And but yeah, she goes to school. She's graduated. She's still in school, and she graduates this May, and she's a social worker. She is going to do very, very well, and I think she's just an amazing person for what she has gone through. She could have just given up very easily and just says, I can't do this anymore, but she hasn't. She has fought every step of the way, and she still is fighting every single day. And this girl works her butt off every single day, no matter what she's feeling, no matter how crappy she's feeling. She gets up every single day and she goes to school, she goes to work, she will work out, she will do loads of homework and still feel like crap for her lupus and like whatever feeling symptoms she's having that day. Her joints could be hurting that day, or just having like a breathing problem because she does get pleurisy in her lungs, and she's just, whatever feeling she's feeling that day, she still just fights through it and she lives. And that's just the main focus. Like, you just have to live, and I'm just happy that she's alive. To me, she's my miracle, and I'm just thankful she's alive, and I'm thankful that my grandfather told her to just come back to us and not to go with him. And I don't know if anyone thinks that's a miracle. I think it is a miracle, and I think it's a miracle that she was in his room where he passed away. And if you think it's a miracle, leave a comment down below. I'm sorry I'm very emotional in this video. I don't talk about this story at all because of this. I get waterworks, and because I put a lot of pressure on myself, because I feel like if it wasn't for my birthday, she wouldn't have gotten sick, because the doctors, it wasn't 100% confirmed, but the doctors were saying how it could have been from the club we were at with the alcohol and the drink glasses, because they were actually using actual glasses. They were probably not sanitized correctly, and they were someone was probably sick with meningitis and she drank off a glass, or someone spit in her mouth while they were talking, and her immune system was already down because she was sick. And that's how you get meningitis. Any mucus to mucus contact, that's how you get meningitis. So yeah, I'm very, very cautious and nervous with meningitis. Also, my dear friend, her son, who was 6 months old, passed away from meningitis. So that is just a very, very disease I just hate. It's a disease I don't like. And yeah, I'm speechless when it comes to that disease, because it just gives me the chills, because it just scares me, really scares me, and I don't want any person to go through it. And I put a lot of pressure on myself, because I feel like if it wasn't for my birthday, she wouldn't have gotten sick, and I'm sorry if it was part of my birthday. And yeah, so yeah, that's part of my story time. I'm sorry I'm very emotional about that. I don't talk about things like that because of this. I cry, and I hate being emotional about things. I'm not an emotional person at all, but when it comes to my sister and losing her, I don't, yeah. So yeah, I will leave the playlist link down below for all the other people that have done their story time about their miracles. And again, I will leave Coolest Mama D's video down, her channel down below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And again, if you're new, please subscribe. I would love for you to join my family here on YouTube. And again, I'm sorry for being a little emotional wreck. I'm sorry, because it's not normally me, but this gets me every time I talk about it. That's why I don't talk about it. So I will see you guys in my next one.